use the rolling interest off of the line of credit. So there's a structural difference in the way that our annual debt service is going to look based on which one of these three options, because there's really three options that get chosen. This year we paid $165,000 and some change.
Now, obviously, this is why you voted not to do the 273, because this really makes the most sense for page number 5 here, in my opinion. But I actually talked to Michelle about that. That's why I got quotes on that stuff at the bank. Remember I did that?
Which is why I put it in my spreadsheet that she sent it to me as an FYI. I was off by $2 last month when we did the, whatever the hell it was, 225, I was off by $2. So to correlate that information, yes, our estimates were close.
So what we could do here, personally, I think this makes the most sense.
Well, it doesn't, well.
So what we could do is I could make a motion to resend the fire payment out.
It would be nice to have that explained in the discussion before the vote is taken.
Well, that's all right, but it wasn't, we can correct that.
Okay, make a motion now, ask for discussion, I'll bring it up.
Hold on. What's your opinion on that, Josh? Make sense?
Framed within what context?
Well, borrowing, we'll call it 500,000 here on sheet number 5.
It is a higher initial 2026 payment
Right.
than using the line of credit. And then it gets cut approximately in half after that.
Which to me,
There, on the other hand, there is a higher long-term payment
5 years.
because of the additional term versus the 4-year payback of the line of credit.
Now, all of that is new one, this last one, isn't the assumption that our roadwork stays static, nothing's added to this down the road, no pun intended.
Well, the only thing I could say, you'd still have the line of credit sitting there.
100%
Right.
So if we go from 165 in 2025 to 205 in 2026, it's $40,000 increase, right? So that turns out to, based on 2026's assessed value, $11 per 100,000. $33 tax increase. That's what it's for. In year 2, 2027, they would get that back times 2. It is a negative adjustment of 25. So it would be lower than what we paid in 2025.
Only makes sense.
Well, assuming there's no other borrowing on top of this, right?
Correct. So the next step of this is, like, from the loan service perspective of all of this, is do we want to keep our debt service as flat as possible? Meaning, in option 1, which is since 75 on the side. Right. So in these additional other years, do we want to keep this number static and backfill with $15,000 a year worth of debt service, which we know is going to be about 75 grand, or structure it differently where you get more window in year 2 with the 500.
I see what you're saying. Year 2, then
you could have a opportunity to do something like pave Marsh Road or pave Hooper Road or whatever, because it's a $150,000 project. Whether it's debt service or paving down in the operating expenses, you can move numbers to one or one number to both, it doesn't really matter. That's to the point of the auditors on what is our threshold for debt service. If you use it as a rotational thing where you don't have to ask for the same amount every single year, then it is what it is.
Right. So again, then option 5 is the best way to go.
It has a higher total payback. It allows for more flexibility in future debt service.
Right. Because it drops from the 205 to the 107, and now we can play in there between 107 and 200 to keep trying to take care of townships, what you're saying, correct?
Correct.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
If we were to borrow the money and not pull the 273 from the current line of credit, would we account for how long it would take to get that loan? So would we just not pay farmer and hold on to the loan?
That would have to be worked out
Okay.
until money is.
So what you'd have to do is,
Penalty for late payment.
they're
They
not.
submitted it months ago and they haven't reached out and said, hey, by the way, so I don't
But
know.
most people are, whether it's net 30, net 60, net 90, there's
They're
penalty for late.
for sure.
Okay, then is it 1.5% a month or?
It is due upon completion, unless modified by the contract, a delinquency charge of 1.5% per month will be assessed on any unpaid balance of the previous date.
Well, we'll call them up and let them know. I think they can better, that's if
We
the
know
board
how long
votes.
it would take. There's a lot of paperwork to get together for it.
Well, it's gonna be 30 days.
Thursday.
Yeah, you're gonna be, okay, but we got
Oh,
30,
no water.
yeah.
So let's play counterpoint to this. Look back at sheet
$4,000 a month. 273,000.
Go ahead, Josh.
If we look at page 3, it was the
Yep.
273 and the 84,000, which is this guy. So similar to the drop in 2027 for the big option, that comes into play in 2029. It goes from 182 down to 23 grand.
I see that.
So that's my point of the structured difference with all of this, is that depending on what our goal is, more flexibility up front, more flexibility long term, with a shorter long term.
The middle one,
It's kind of halfway in between.
it drops from 250 to 227, but then it drops to 113. And then it drops to 43 and 43, which is a lot less than the 107. 113 is almost a wash, so it's just using the 273 to pay farther on time. And we're borrowing 185. We have a higher, the 1 year that's really different is 27. And then after that, you actually, 27 and a very little bit of 28, you're paying more than this last number. But 29 and 30, it's less than half of what option 5 is. And we get farther paid on time. I'm not advocating one or the other, I'm just pointing out at $4,000 a month.
If we go with option page 5, the second year, Jesus, you got 100,000, 98,000 to play with right there. You keep taking care of the township.
Then
Don't fall asleep back there.
Then in 29 and 30, in 29 and 30, the middle one, we've got 43,000 versus 108. And the last two
last 2 years. And that's paying out of the 600, right? On page 4. It's paying farther out of what we are.
Paying farther out of it, but not utilizing anything additional
how much,
for timber.
how much are we, each of these, how much we're borrowing an additional 185 here, an additional 100 here, and here we're borrowing, we add these two together,
Correct.
so we're, So we're borrowing $459. And how much of that $459 in this is, 185 is already committed? No, the 273 is committed, the 185 is not.
Of the 459, 98,000 is coming out of the line of credit.
Right, but
I gotta understand what it is.
of the 459 that we're gonna potentially, under this scenario,
Yeah,
we're gonna close the prior line,
correct,
open a new note.
for that amount.
For that amount, how much of that is already committed for work that's completed?
273 and 100 and wherever it was
So all
all.
As soon as they shoulder it,
So
also,
all,
yes.
so there's no money in here for future work. We're kicking the can further down the road.
Which would be like 20.
We're not kicking it, I mean, it's set for 2030, so it's, we're not adding years to it.
Correct.
But
But we're leaving the line of credit, because we moved our 273 over here, and it's $409,000 loan.
Correct.
It's all 460.
In that case, we still have 358 left in the line of credit. It's only the 240.
so you're not canceling the current line
No.
of credit, we're just opening a new one.
Well, we're just.
We would be able to-
So we have two line of credits. And the bank has no timeline where you have to make a draw within a certain amount of time.
This,
We're gonna be drawing right away.
this is debt service. We would get 459 as soon as the ink is dropped.
Yeah.
This amount, we have up, I mean, realistically, we have up until July 30th of 2027 to draw out.
But there's nothing, if you don't take something out of it for 12 months,
No,
it automatically closes it.
it was a 4-year line of credit.
I mean, it all depends on which way you want to look at it. I mean, if you look at the middle one, the first year's kind of a wash. The second year, we're paying more. Third year's kind of a wash. But then 29 and 30, where we don't know what the heck's gonna happen, is a lot less than this one. So it depends which side of the coin each one of us thinks we should go. So it's gonna just come down to vote.
Well, in my opinion, we should,
If we vote to borrow money at all, what happens when we don't borrow money?
well, don't fall asleep on what you're showing.
I'm not falling asleep.
I don't,
Don't fall asleep.
Well, because I still maintain, based on my memory, that everything was covered based on tax levy and borrowing that was $600,000.
okay, the first thing I'm gonna do here. What do you think?
The procrastination part of it, really, so let's rewind and let's look at what we passed moments ago. The difference, like you were just looking between the 4 and 5, right? If you look at the difference between 3 and 4, we're paying more in 26 and 27. In 28, the line of credit payment is higher.
I think the first one is out, in my opinion, it's between the middle one and 5.
It's 4 and 5, so
That's my opinion.
I agree with that. So, but 4 leaves the loan without us having to rescind that vote in the borrow.
Michelle, how long would it take to get a new note? Just
Well,
ballpark,
that was my question that I raised. I
just
don't know.
ballpark. Is it looking at 2 months? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to get it?
No,
I would say 6 weeks.
at the most, she's going on vacation, that's fine.
So
Tomorrow's
$6,000
another day.
It'll cost us $6,000
But we,
interest unless,
they're not gonna charge us, I'm gonna call them up, okay?
So we actually got that invoice, in June, when this first came out, so
at this point, we might already know.
they haven't sent some numbers.
I haven't seen them already.
No, but I'll make the political.
We should be
phone
upfront
call.
with them and ask them for an
I'll
extension.
yeah, I'll tell them that.
That's what we want, is to get bad credit with them and have them,
Well,
Now,
To me, number 5 is the way to go, because first of all, we're leaving that line of credit open on that $600,000 line. Okay?
Oh, yeah,
No.
84,000.
Yeah, 84, but that's not a lot of money. Not today's world, what things was. So, if we're in favor with going with number 5, we gotta rescind the motion that I did, which is not a big deal. And go with the number 5 option, page 5. Are you looking at that, Michelle? Page 5?
If I'm reading correctly, we don't take any more draws, we rescind the 273, and we take out a loan for 459,000.
Or it's, yeah, let's just round up, 460,000. And then we still have a line of credit if we have something to do here.
We're assuming,
We have some,
we agree to go with 5. Do we need to have a mini vote to see if
well,
who favors 4 versus 5, or?
what do you think, 4 or 5, Josh?
My problem is not with either, it's sitting here, parliamentary standpoint, and whether or not how to deal with, might make something that's like that over time. Sorry.
Doesn't have to be 4, we need to do this.
You're not allowed to amend or,
It's too late for me to think that over.
Well, we're still discussing the matter, we rescind it, it's still within the same discussion. That's my point.
So what did we handle by reconsideration of a motion? And so the person who brings it back has to be somebody who voted in the,
Affirmative.
and both of them,
Or in the affirmative.
if he's willing to bring it back.
Right, and then it takes us to 5, I think that is.
So first you would have to make a motion to reconsider to try and alleviate these concerns. Which is a big deal, we can do that.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to,
well, first, Josh, are you in favor of 5 over 4? Because if he's 4, we don't have to rescind it.
So, as people ask, with option 5, we're actually borrowing another $459,000.
but we're not using this equation. We'll use 242 of it, right? It's 42. And we've already paid 165,000. Say 15,000 is interest, we paid 150,000 back already, we don't owe probably 100,000 on it, if we don't do anything else next year, it's done. Something like that, right, it's close. Take a breath, right? Anyway. Gosh,
Honestly, I think it would be cleaner to keep 185 on its own.
we borrowed 185 on its own, leave it stand where we're at now.
Correct.
Okay. Now,
So with that being said,
yeah,
I'm trying to pause ahead of time, things so that it's taking a long. We have an estimated amount from the county. We've gotten tickets from Dane Bill, but not a finalized consolidated bill for this project. Their estimate is 15 grand. If it comes back at 8, 7 grand we don't have to borrow. All we're going going with this one, so the 185, before we make a motion, borrow $185,000, we don't have the county's invoice in front of us at the moment. You guys, we voted to utilize the draw out of the line of credit.
Yep.
For the fourth month in a row, we can discuss the Palmyra Road project funding. When we get the invoice from the county, we have, on paper, this is the amount that's due. Whether it's 180, 179 and a half, 183, 340, whatever that number comes back at, we will have not just an estimate, but an invoice similar to the 273,901.75 from Farmer, an actual amount.
So are you suggesting you table that till next month and we'll get an actual amount?
I think we could.
Well, I'm listening to you.
Or take no action and put it back on old business again.
So, but we're gonna pay the 273 now, out of the loan too far, that's what we're gonna. Yeah?
The invoice is due, the work is spent on, so at some point in time, you have to pay for it somehow.
If you do that, then you're locked in the middle option.
Or,
Just borrow 185 first.
or that, you go to, all that sheet 3, worksheet 4, instead of order file.
So, we'll take, you're suggesting no action on the the Tamarack Road project this time. Until the completed invoices come in. Is that what you want?
That sounds like a good motion, right? I would second that.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to table paying the Tamarack Road project, repaving, etc. until next month.
Until we get his invoice.
Until we get an invoice, 100% completed invoices for the project. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So we retain the motion where we're paying the 273,901.
And we're tabling the Tamarack Road repaving project in its entirety until all bills come in. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Geez, we're going for record time limit here, pretty close. We had one go to 9:30. Let's keep going. Huh?
The motion carried.
Oh, motion carried.
Thank you.
Now, thank the Lord, number 10, set budget meeting dates for 2026 town budget. No,
Can we do that at our 28th kickoff meeting?
No,
boss is spoken. Set, she's the boss here,
I'm
guys.
not.
Okay, so we got August 28th is our first one at 6 p.m. here. Josh, what's your schedule? It goes by, kids and et cetera.
Wednesdays would be my preferred day.
So the first one would be September 28th,
August 28th.
or excuse me, August 28th. Boy, I'm having a hell of a time.
Everybody's trying.
Everybody's having a hell of a time right now. My God, nice to see you here, sir. I'm sticking around. First time I ever seen you.
First one.
You can watch our interaction when we posted on the
I
website.
saw that, yeah. That's all right, I've seen it this time, but.
September 3rd, good or not? Is that too quick?
That depends on, when my granddaughter goes back to school, because I have on Wednesdays. So it won't, I know it won't go into the 10th, but the 3rd I haven't gotten my answer from my son.
Do you want to make it the 10th, the next one, Josh? After
Do
the,
we plan on this being a weekly meeting or bi-weekly?
well,
What do we
I
normally
think
do?
well, okay, your time with your granddaughter's done maybe on the 3rd, but you don't know for sure, so that could just put us a week out. After that, the 10th, is that good, Josh? 10th, 17th, 24th, should we just go that route?
That was my last question.
Yeah.
Planning on weekly or bi-weekly? What have we done in the past?
Last year we did them weekly. We scheduled them weekly, I think we skipped a couple because of
Whatever.
whatever reason.
So that gets, gets Rob by this time with his family and, gives us a little week to rest up. We have a board meeting the 8th. The 10th, 17th, and 24th, does that look good? There we go, the 10th, 17th, and 24th. 10th, 17th, and 24th of September. And should we go October 1st and put that one in there too, just in case? But it doesn't mean we have to use them. We want to get by this, but we want the damn fire contract done.
There's something in my calendar that says BPCW, and I have no idea what it is, so I have to ask my wife what that means. It's for 2 days, so I think she's out of town.
You're good with the acronyms, you go up with all these acronyms.
What time? We're doing 6.
Okay, well, yeah, what times?
5:30, 6 o'clock.
I would rather do
5? 5 o'clock on the 10th, 17th, and 24th. We'll see how it's going the 17th, and we got added a couple more dates. How does that sound, guys?
28.
I'm just gonna put it through October, just so it's in my calendar.
We can do the time on
The 20th for we had chosen 6 o'clock, and the airport's gonna be at 7:30, we changed the time. 6 to 7:30. Frank may have to leave before we're done.
We good? Initially?
I mean, it's just a month and a half now, so I would.
Okay, so
So why don't we say on the 17th of September? We'll regroup,
okay,
figure out where we're at, both from budget and where schedule is or whatever.
yeah, I can sit here.
So we're not meeting on the 10th then?
That's what we're telling us, yes.
What'd you say about the 17th? We didn't meet.
Like at that meeting, figure out what the next 4 weeks can be.
Yeah. Really,
I mean, unless you want it, like I said, the only thing I don't know about is the first. We could skip the first and do the 8th.
8th of October. We'll just,
That's gonna get us really, I mean, we're always in that 10th week of figuring out what we're doing for October, November meeting, and notices and everything else, so. I'm assuming seeing as it's a 3-day block that I'm not gonna be available for 10-1, but we can just 10.
got all those dates done? Good. Get ready to go. I know I'm gonna get it again.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Meeting adjourned, thank the Lord. Was that, no, we didn't set a record, because I know my, what is this closed?
It wasn't open. Pizza place is closed, so I don't know.
Thank you, everybody.